Well. Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Runnings, coming to you live from inside the zone with Lady D Denise Gomez, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. Welcome to another exciting feature of the program where we talk about our traditions and cultures, memories of our childhood, and bouts of laughter. This morning's topic: dating back in the day. Boy meets girl, sparks fly, and lyrics, oh well, melted hearts. These are fond memories we share about dating back in the day to anyone willing to listen. We get a rush of nostalgia that makes us laugh, shudder in fear, or wish we could do it all over again. Joining me this morning are Jackie Brainbox Tyson, Shanette Mignot Brown, Maxine Max Poet Lyons, and our dearest Jen will not be joining us this morning for very good reasons, but she'll be back soon. Welcome, ladies. Morning.
Morning, morning, morning.
Morning.
How do you do? Mine
Top of the
good this
morning to you.
morning.
Dating a hopping. Mhm.
Yeah.
Tell you.
Missy lipstick and rouge on.
Yes,
Missy rouge lip up there so.
I'm
See me
beat.
on me ready to get kisses. I'm ready to
Wow,
get
look at the lip
oops.
and the
And
cold
the lips,
shoulder.
oh,
Wow.
the lips are well pink.
yes.
Me
Woo.
can say pink.
You see what we're talking about here. It's ladies and gentlemen, you would not believe how we have to literally sit and brainstorm these topics to come to you because bearing in mind it's a weekly show, which
Mm-hmm.
means we have to be in constant communication to
Yes.
put our minds together and say what makes sense and what really don't make sense. But this one
Mm-hmm.
makes sense this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We're sure of that. And
Yeah.
Ryan's a hot queen. How I say?
we're looking forward to seeing everyone. So, Jax, how you do?
Lux, me do good.
Yeah,
Me
here
almost,
bouncy.
it seemed like they're upgrading the internet in the Fort Lauderdale area because even at school this week we barely had internet to check in when we enter the school and also to view whatever the teacher has to show us on the screen. So we didn't have internet. And this morning I just noticed that I set up my computer and everything from last night, and this morning it was showing me no internet. I think they're doing some upgrades, but he
Right.
came back, snapped back just in time for me to get on. But you know, God is good. Has been a
Yes.
good week,
Time.
and we're here.
Nice. So, Sharns.
Well, hello there.
Yeah.
Good morning, all. I'm very happy, and I'm in my sweet Jamaica. I had
Yes.
to resist the urge from sitting under my mango tree and do the show. I
You
mean, I
can't really
want
show off this
response to
year
nobody.
now.
I didn't want to be responsible for any weak hearts that might just fall out. You see the
Follow.
mango, them are bouncing on my head top. So
No.
I restrained myself and I come
I
inside.
can't.
I,
Yeah,
right.
I'm
And
in
it
my happy place.
and it would have been it would have been good, because that would be really live
And
and
direct.
direct.
Sure.
Yeah,
Next week,
live slap from a
I mean,
mango. A live slap
I could
from a
walk
mango in our
out there,
head.
but my dogs are out there and they're liable to bark.
Oops.
Yes,
I'll
but
probably try it next week
Oh.
and see how it works.
and see how
Let's
it
try
goes.
it next week.
Nice. So,
Trust
Mac.
me, you're the best. Well, you know what? I can't complain. Thank God I'm here. My week was just fantastic. Lots of positives and waiting for good happenings too. So
Mhm.
I'm just on top of the world.
Acha.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Morning. So we would like to welcome, because there are some early birds. I think it's the whole dating topic, just kind of blow them in,
I can't wait
whisk
to
them
hear the
over this
stories.
They
so
want to
quickly,
come past our business.
right? So we want to welcome Andrea. Morning, Drea. Live out of
Hi,
Barbados.
Andrea.
Ricky, I sent. So, ladies, before I continue, I'm going to ask you to mute and then each time you have to speak, you come in because there's a sound I'm hearing, and I'm not sure whose background it is.
Oh, that's not me.
All right, so you can mute, and then once you're gonna talk, you unmute. So Drea, good morning, and our dear heart Ricky is here. He has been busy. Rick, I hope you have some dating story for we, because summer we never have much, and when we did have it, it tumbled down bad. So morning to Rick, morning to Princess, morning everybody. King Ryan celebrated birthday last week, so he says all the queens, of course, we're there. So good morning to King Ryan. Ricky says, I usually post these things. I don't know why I'm just chatting and you're not seeing. My apologies. So let me just take off my banner and just jump into the comment section here. So let's do this. So I'm not sure what Andrew is saying here. Not sure. We'll talk about that, Andrea. Not sure what that means, but Andrea, Ricky says morning. Princess, morning, everybody. You know how we can just change up words, right? How it's spelled. So Ryan say, all right. So Ricky says, me cannot say too much because. All right, sir. Well, to protect the innocent. What is this? All right. Yes, sir. No problem. No problem. Somebody here is Cool Kid Shavans. That's a relative. So Jackie, unmute. So ladies, you can unmute because I can't hear your laughter or anything. But as long as the background.
That's my nephew or my brother.
Okay. We're not sure who.
Funny, I can't see those those posts that you're seeing. I don't know why.
Oh, not sure.
I'm seeing them.
Cool Kid is my brother in Jamaica.
Okay.
In Jamaica, they're in Jamaica.
Princess is saying that across Canada, a major network was down all day,
Yes.
couldn't even get access. Okay. All right. So we're just touching base with anyone. Morning, Charlesy. She says, good morning, my friends and family. Love the day. Grit. Morning, Grit. Grit, you must have some dating story for us. And where you are, wait. You're in Virginia. You know what, Gritly?
You know what they say, Virginia is for lovers, so you're in the right place.
All right.
I'm sure.
Yes.
All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
I can
They have bumper stickers out there that say Virginia is for lovers. Trust me.
Yes.
Well,
that
can
is
tell
true.
you
That is
by
true.
the time Gritly hear that, she will just bust out a laugh.
I guess it's in the Virgin. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So morning. So again, we are talking about the wonderful stories of dating. Boy meets girl, sparks fly, lyrics. Your heart
Lyrics
melts.
fly.
May I tell you, lyrics are fly, and you can tell the more senior men, when you hear them talk, sometimes so them used to have the lyrics, and it hasn't left them.
Yes.
So they anytime you hear that kind of smooth thing a roll off, you're like, you were one of those. You're one of those.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll
So,
get
ladies,
caught.
let's start talking. And to our audience, we invite you to share your stories with us. We need some comical ones as well, And don't be afraid. You're always sharing. So we're looking forward to see what you're going to tell us this morning. So who wants to kick off first? Any little dating story? See, Ricky, him pop in his first of all. Hold on little. So Ricky says, my first story was primary prep school. I used to get some biff buff and pinch from this girl. Everything me say to anyone was a pinch or a thump. even if I wasn't talking to her. And every time I turned around, there she was. She didn't like it,
Aye.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, man.
Mhm.
That's a crush.
That's more than a crush.
Then he
She
said,
nearly crushed him.
I couldn't take it anymore and told the teacher. So she said she liked me. Okay, see? Just as we
Yeah.
thought.
We
Thank you
said.
for sharing, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I'm beginning to think that things are landing left, right, and center. Ah, assurance. There you go. Mhm. So, thank you, Ricky, for sharing. So, Max, what say
Uh-huh.
you? Dating world. Some of us never have much date,
Well, me did have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even some of them might not have been dates, but then we didn't like each other. So I
Mm.
remember when I was in secondary school, it was an Adventist school too that I went to. There was this guy named Rupert. Lived in not in the very same vicinity as me. He lived like on the main road, not a district. But I lived in Coffee Piece then. But he was good looking and I admire beauty. Nice hair and have this high soul all the way up there, but it was like kind of curly,
Mm.
pretty.
Aye.
And we were in school. And it's funny because in school back then we never had too many boys, but for some reason we just like each other. But I never forget he used to come to my house and would come to my house after school, school finishing, go home and left me house, come to my house. And my grandmother used to tease him. I said, you're not afraid. Because this. Back then we had no lights in the district, no street lights. And this boy
Mhm.
find himself from my yard till late night. But then back then we it was like a just talk. It was
Mhm.
no kiss and hug up and all of that stuff. It was just come to my house, sit at the veranda and talk. The door open, my grandmother is there, everybody's there. But it's the whole idea of him staying there to my house so late
Mm.
and having to walk so far. And my grandmother always teased me, I'm afraid Jumbi, I go catch you. And I found that very funny and amazing. And for some reason, after I left secondary school and went to high school, I just lost track of him. I never heard from
Mhm.
him, saw him, spoke to him or anything. But he
Mhm.
was really my very, very first crush. I really loved that guy because he was just good.
Yeah, I sure. All right. Thank
And he
you,
was
Max.
smart. He was a very smart guy too.
Mhm. So, Sharon,
But you know,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
way
mhm, what's your
Well,
story?
let's see now. Where do I begin? Well, this is coming from left field, but my first fight my first fight was over a quote unquote crush because a guy in my class, his name was Lurch Coates, very unusual name, Lurch, and he liked me, and then everybody started calling me Mrs. Lurch Coates, Mrs. Lurch Coates. I mean, I like him, never like the boy. Him had a big bottom and him did brown skin. I mean, I like brown skin boy at all. So I mean, we were in grade six. We were in grade six. And then I call me Mrs. Sturge Course. And I said, don't call me something I like him. And I'm saying, like you. And, apparently he was dropping hints or whatever. And I tell him, I couldn't take it no more, man. I one girl named Pauline Tugwell. She was happened to be the last person to call me. And me just snatch her, and just start beat me, just start fight her. Me fight her to me in the class to out the door because I was so upset. Yeah, me never like it at all. I mean, me get a beating after me done give she a beating, then me get a beating from the teacher, and
Yeah.
then me go home and get a beating from me granny.
Oh Lord, all the name
But
of
it was
one
on
boy.
account of the fact that he had a crush. I mean, back then, you're talking grade six. Grade six, you're what, like what, 11? Because we had the common entrance that time.
Mhm.
Me never
yeah.
really move with them something there. I mean, never, I never, I mean, if they never take it so far, me wouldn't really, react that way. But they are the one who could take a wreck them time there anyway. So it was all my fault. But
Oh dear.
that blew over. And then by the time I got to high school, I was in third form,
Mhm.
and that's when I meet my husband, and we've been off and running ever since.
Man.
Wow,
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
granted, we couldn't go on a date for 2 years because I was only 15. Could not
Okay.
go on a date. We had to wait for 2 years before my granny would have said, okay, I can go. two
Mm.
years. Yeah,
Oh my
That's all
God.
right. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
yeah.
So, Jack.
Boy, I mean, never have much of that, Lady D, much of the dating thing, but but me know say somebody they like me, I bring one bull, I can't give me.
Oh God! Them a catch you with bulla.
Oh Lord. Okay. Lordy.
No,
So you don't get no flowers, you just get bulla straight.
Bulla! A bulla
Get
here,
sandwich.
wrap up in a brown paper. So you know it's
Oh,
always dear and sentimental.
oh you mean?
Ain't
Oh
nothing
you
wrong with
mean?
what they know how they can't afford it.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah, that's a well thought out gift if you should ask me.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, like, yeah, you bring something, so when you dating back in the days and you come go into the girl yard, you have to come several days in a row. Sit
Yeah.
down on the veranda and make
Yes.
friend with the family, carry one kerchief for grandpa, carry one little piece of yam for grandma, and
Oh
sit down on
yeah,
the veranda and talk and go on like say, and then you come look for and another girl.
yeah,
Tell me about that.
yeah. Bring two
we
dry
never have
coconut and two breadfruit.
exactly. You have to date
All
the
right.
family before
Lord
you
have
get the
mercy.
girl.
We love that, Jackie. Bulla. Okay.
But the
So
bulla,
for
Leon carried a bulla to school to give to me.
yes.
I may never really
Right.
understand until later.
Oh, okay. So now for me, we like Ricky, we grew up in the same community. Ricky, me, Princess, we grew up and Cat grew up in this same community. And as you go to school and so little boys like you and thing, and some of them who like you.
Yes, you can
Them
always tell.
always try to
Yes.
deround you as much as they can,
Mm-hmm.
be in your presence. But what stands out in my mind is when I was at Chapelton Primary. There were two boys at Chapelton Primary with the same first name, and we in the same class. And the two of them used to tease me, but I like them like me, Now, as you get older, you realize the two of
Yes.
them used to tease me. So one evening,
Yes.
I walked down to the bus stop because if Ricky recall, we used to have this gentleman, Mass TT, used to drive a white. It was a white VW van, and we used to travel with him. But the times when I wouldn't travel with him to come home because he operated it as a public passenger vehicle, I would take bus.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular evening, I'm not taking the bus. I walk down again. This is the school, the bus stop. They're right down there, so and go down. The two of them a trail me and a tease me and a call me pretty, 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 and I'm like over them, to the point I got so emotional. Me start to cry.
Oh,
Them a walk behind me, a call me pretty, pretty. Me a head to the bus stop, a bawling, walking to the bus stop. So they're standing there with me now, and people are wonder what is going on. Me in a hysteria, me a cry, them a call me pretty, pretty.
mm-mm.
So the bus come,
Mercy.
and I don't know what. I am stepping up in the bus, and one of them a hold on to the uniform tail.
Whoa,
A pull me. The boy them just
clumsy. That was very clumsy.
clumsy. What me do? My hand go right down in a me wait now. My hand go right down in a my little school bag and pull out a pencil.
Whee!
Lord.
And so me just use the pencil as pick me. You say you give them one jam,
Stop.
One juke.
one joke. I just take the pencil. I rage take me, I make boom, joke him and
Oh
he
my
pull back
God.
him hand. Pull back him hand and me go right in the bus, go stand up, keep until we reach Penance. I was a mess.
That was over very quickly before it began.
Tell you, he never start.
I know.
Wow.
And they
Oh,
wouldn't stop
God.
bother me, They wouldn't stop bother me. Anyway, let's see who.
I know why when people like each other, especially those times, younger.
Afraid to
I
talk.
think it still happens. someone, them tease each other, or them like how the girl pinch Ricky and all of that, instead of just telling the person. But I guess them could express themselves, so they had to
Yes,
Okay.
pinch
back then we
and
never had the
tease
words
and
and the know-how. Yeah, I
I'm
guess.
very sorry, but I have to complete Ricky's story properly. So he had
okay.
said that he couldn't take it anymore, and he had told the teacher that she liked him. And
Yeah.
me start to ball and say, why she have to like me?
What a piece of foolishness.
Oh no.
Oh God, that's so funny.
Why she feel like
Yeah, tell you. So Princess says, sure, as you know, Lady D, I did pretty much live in a convent.
Didn't good nothing.
Dating couldn't. She used to live in a deacon's house. So there was his deacon Golding. He was a deacon in the church. So she had lived with them. Dating couldn't happen. So I have to enjoy
Mm-hmm.
the joke from the rest of you.
Oh Lord, heart
Yeah,
and touch my my
good
dear.
curtains.
So Charles, he says, I can't even talk about dating. This boy and me going to the same school. This lady see we talking. She went and tell my father, girl, my father put one beating on me. Never talk to a
Mm-hmm.
boy again.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Jesus
well,
I
Christ?
get I get a
Listen.
beaten. I get a beaten like that already because as I was saying, with I met my husband. I was 15. He was 17. That time, then he went to boarding school. He went to Stets in St. Elizabeth. So I didn't know him at all. And he graduated and came back to Mobile, and he was attending the community college, Mobile Com College, because it was just built, newly built. We're talking about what 1979, something about this. So it was just built, and so and I met him in their store. They have a store, and a friend of mine and I were walking up Barney Street, stopped at the store, and he was in there, and him see me. I mean, I saw him. Me never hear no bells ring or no lightning flash, but according, and he just went out. If he was here, he could explain the whole thing. But he was like his love at first sight. But me know this time I give me little googly eyes and what have you. And I was not turned off by it, put it that way, you know?
mhm.
As in the past when mother just flat out like be like, hey boy, where I look for me for. Him I was a little soft towards. So maybe a little thing pop up in the beginning. I didn't know. But I remember the first guy, he was very, very much older than me because my youngest cousin, my grandmother raised four of us, and the youngest cousin in the house is 8 years older than me. And this boy was in his class. And he came to me and said, oh, Shanette, I want me to be intimate friends, you know. I mean, I said, one your intimate friends. That time me just laugh it off like, what you talk about? Me don't know any intimate friends, you know. So of course, you also me go to my cousin because he was like a brother to me. And I said to him, he named Glenn. I said, Glenn, what is intimate friend? And Glenn said, who you talk about intimate friend? Where you know about intimate friend? So me say, no, such and such. And me call him name. Say what name to be intimate friend? Him just say, hold on, me soon come back. So you know, same go to the guy, beat him up,
But go up
do
in there
everything,
now.
and he never talked to me again. But I
Oh
don't know what his
God.
Oh
intimate
God.
friend for sure. I was too young,
Yes.
when he came to me with that mess. But
Oh my
with
God.
my husband, me and him went on, and of course, like I forgot who said her and the guy was walking, and she got a beating. That happened to me. My husband was an avid soccer player, plays soccer for one of the Montego Bay teams, and I got a lot of flack from being with him because back in the day, my husband always had locks, and he
Mm.
was like a rebel. And I guess because he went to boarding school, his family didn't realize he was going locks. So he had locks from the time I met him until now.
Hmm.
And he used to be playing soccer, and they would be like, yeah, and them call him Chucky Brown. So Chucky Brown, I run up on the field. And so when they realized that he and I were talking, and talking mean you're hiding. You are hiding. You can't make nobody know.
Nobody know,
But I
yeah.
guess if you glance across, at the person and they see you, look at them, they say, hey, here, talk and I talk. It could be a mile away from you. And I
Yes.
pick up a good beat from, I think that's the last beat my granny beat me. with a ballerina slippers. Remember ballerina?
The
We get
one
a
with the
beat with
flowers
a
on the top
ballerina
and the
slippers
little embroidery on the
on the
front.
front.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, and
because
the rubber bottoms. They
yeah,
lick hot, you know. They lick
yeah,
hot.
man.
Yes.
One of my aunt came down from Kingston, and I happened to be coming from school, but my husband used to time it so that him I got to feel when me I come from school, so we could have walk together. And walking together meaning that I'm on this side of the street, I mean the way over there, so maybe a few yards ahead of me, but we had a little communication incognito thing going on.
Yes.
And me don't know
Body
how my auntie
language.
pick it up, you know. How was you,
Body
man? My
language.
auntie go tell me, Granny, by the time me reach home, the story was so embellished. I didn't do anything. We were just walking. And not even so we are hold hand, but the story got so embellished by the time we reach home, man. My grandmother, as me step on the veranda, saw, and then my bedroom was what you call the veranda room. So it's a room off the bed, you know. When you get onto the veranda, instead of go to the living room, you can make a right and go
Yes.
through that
In the
door.
bedroom, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
by the time we reach my to my bedroom door, my granny just start lace. I mean, I have my uniform, you know. I remember seeing my uniform, a white dress, never and a white uniform, you know.
Mount
And she
Alvernia
just start
School.
beat me. Yeah, because of the
Jesus.
way how they embellish the story, they make
Yeah,
it
they
look
made
like
it
so
up.
when me and him hug up hands in hands.
And
And
it's
back
not true.
then, instead of them acknowledging that boys and girls are it's a natural progression of life and development. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of them approaching it that way and say, well, boy meets girl, boy likes girl, girl likes boy, they make it look like so well then by looking at him tomorrow morning you're pregnant and barefoot with 10 pitney and you're pulling on your family name or you are the most happy,
Yeah.
happy, happy, happy stuff. So them just have beat it out of you. And my grandma
It's
just lace me
ridiculous.
proper. Yeah, and say, oh, me disrespectful, me I walk with boy and which boy that. And like
Right.
me say, my husband is not from our neighborhood. So nobody knew his family to say a Mass Joe's son for her to then deduce
Mm-hmm.
whether or not him a good come off a good table.
Right.
She never had that opportunity because he was new on the scene. I mean, I tell you because I would beaten for that one there.
And
Wow.
Gosh.
worse, a man with locks. Worse is a man with locks.
Let me
Right.
They
tell you
always have a
something, man.
thing
I
Back then,
against
got
a man with
then
a
look
yeah,
like a Rasta boy, a chat to Rasta boy.
yeah, yes,
yeah.
right. And let me tell you,
Rasta
you know,
boy a
my
chat.
mother.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember saying my mother had always been away. So my mother at the time was in the US already. And people from the district, because my mother was born in the district I grew up in, but she had left the district when she was about maybe, 16, 17, because her brothers are much older and she was the last one. So they took her to Kingston to go to school and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And so she had friends in the district. I'm telling you, they wrote letters to my mother and tell her, say, I want big dirty Rasta man with their weed.
Mhm.
My husband is
Jesus of
only 2 years
mercy.
older. Yeah, he's only. I have pictures. I can share with you ladies privately. My husband is only 2 years older than me, but I guess because he was in college and I was going into fourth
Yes.
form, they must say I want big dirty Rasta boy. Cause I was very slender, very very
No, no.
skinny, very petite, and him did kind of muscular. Like I was a soccer player, and him,
Right.
and
Mhm.
then for one big dirty boy, look like him about 30-year old and a little girl child. Him a go
Yes.
have her eat ital food and him a go breed her every year. And it was all
It was
Yeah,
mess. It was messy.
they're just silly back then. Yeah.
But
It
you
Because
was
see
I
how
remember.
messy.
they making the story. You see how they make the story, like you said, them embellish the story. So you see what they add to it, dirty, big dirty Rasta
Yes,
man.
that's how they were
Mhm.
back then. That's
Emphasis.
exactly how. As
Yes.
long as he's
Yeah.
not a pastor and he's not
Yeah.
an accountant or a teacher or a doctor, he's no
Mhm.
money
My
for your daughter.
goodness.
But I
You know,
remember.
Yeah.
I have to give kudos to my mother because she taught us how to encounter, people, especially if it's somebody of the opposite sex. She would
Mhm.
have us around a big table because she had so many of us and people. Some people they have them out and all right. So you have 7 boys, you're gonna have Wally Pa Trouble, Miss G, and you
Mhm.
have Wally Pa Pitney. She have 11 of us in the house. And she had books. Everywhere she goes, she get games. So we'd all sit around the table and play games. But the books that she brought in the house was Unbecoming a Man, Unbecoming a
Yeah,
Woman,
I had the one.
and
Yeah.
Happiness Within. husband and wives and
Mhm.
encyclopedias. And she went through those books with us so we could become familiar that there's going to be a time when you're going to meet somebody of the opposite sex and it's natural. So,
Mhm.
I really give her kudos for that because some people like you, we never got beating for stuff like that. So,
Right, right.
Sister Sharon, I know people who have gone through that and can relate. And I understand it's hard. It's terrible.
I,
Yes.
I don't recall getting beaten for boys.
Sharon's fell off, so she'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recall getting beaten for boys. I can't really recall me remember getting rough up, but I don't
Mhm.
remember getting a
I
beaten
get
boy.
beaten, boof up.
Yes, when I get a real big strap.
Mm-mm.
But I
Mhm.
remember when I was in high school, there was a guy named Dowding. That was his last name. Everybody called him by his last name. His father was a pastor. Because I went to arts and never went to schools. Never went to public schools like that, except for primary, of course. And Dowding was the bad boy in school. He was pastor's son, but bad.
Mhm.
And most people were afraid of him for whatever reason because he was rough and crude, but he didn't love me and me just like him back because me afraid of him. Honestly, I never loved this boy, but I
Oh Lord.
responded to him because we did afraid of him because he was just rough, crude, with that just licking at your head, pinch you, just do things to kids, boys or girls. And
Oh
he liked me
wow.
a lot,
Oh.
and I responded to him because I was afraid of him. But we
Mhm.
was just like a little flirt there and then. But then there was the vice principal brother who liked me very much. A little boy loved me something. But in the short, I mean I'm short. But then in short I look little body. So it look like picnic for me because I always have big boobs, which all can see.
Mhm.
And here I am, me look me big and look, have more body than him and he look little and look like little picnic. And he follow me around the school since high school. Lunchtime, it's like he was stand by the door when we get lunch break just to see me, and he would be talking into my ears and carrying on. And I'm not into him too much because of his stature,
Mhm.
but because his vice principal brother and him bright, everybody thinks talk to him and talk to him. You
Oh
must see
yeah.
my vice principal brother, that kind
Mhm.
of a thing. So that was it for high school. And then there was a teacher in high school who I had a crush on. I don't know if anybody had that, but there was a teacher in high school. He never taught me, but he was a teacher in my high school that I liked very much. And he liked me too. His name was
Mhm.
Hamilton. Lovely, he had big eyes, tall, thick lips, dark. He was just a nice teacher, but he was just a crush. He used to me in the corner, he would just wink him and I would try to. Because it's school and I'm a student, but this was last day of year. I mean, this was the final year in high school. But I really
Oh.
did like him a lot. And then in
Okay.
high school, to say in high school, there was this guy that worked in because I went to Portmore High School, St. Adventist School. And there was this guy's name was Errol. This is the story of my life. Errol worked with the Ministry of Health back then in the town of Portmore, and my school was outside of the town. So I would take the bus going into the city and save a seat for him on the bus. Or
Oh.
sometimes I would walk from school into the town of Portmore just to see him. And I would sit in his office, wait for him, tell him finish, and we'd take Northern Queen home. And we always sit together. The driver, the conductor, everybody for the bus knew we were friends. And they saw it. And he always
Mhm.
put me in the car and he was very protective of me. Loved the earth I walked on. He was very dark and he was a Sunday worshiper. And of course, back then I was an Adventist. So
Mhm.
he loved me and he said, listen to me. My grandmother always tell me if you see any boy and him like him, make them come talk to me. I mean, she don't want no backdoor dealings. She would tell me that. So of course I was bold enough since I got the permission to tell my grandmother about this Errol who likes me. I'm in high school last year in high school and he's working. Of course, obviously he's older than I am. And him say, "I come talk to me about them." I say, ladies, let me tell you something. It was the longest day in my life when he came to my house the first time. This
I
was,
can relate.
yes,
I
this
can
was
relate.
Christmas.
I got
This is Christmas time, and we take down curtain, I wash and I clean and I get ready for Christmas because it's December. And then
What
guys
a time.
show up at my house. And I know me gonna visit the worst thing that even my granny come like my granny come and see not me.
oh
Like I
God.
said earlier.
Yes.
And then back and forth with scripture. Because he insists him love me and want me. And my grandmother said, no, she had Betty and you go to Sunday church. You have to come to our religion. You have to come up to
Oh
our religion
dear.
if you want her to marry. And he insists now let him Sunday worshiping. And my grandmother insists, no, well, we're Adventists,
Oh
we
dear.
can't happen. That
Oh
was the
my.
first
Oh
time at
my
my house,
gosh.
and that was the last time. And he just
Oh, you
went
just
apart.
frazzled
But
out.
he was serious. He was seriously wanting
Mhm.
to marry me.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
Wow.
terrible.
And now you see what's happening. People are marrying into
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
denominational,
Yes.
you know,
yeah,
all those
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
because look, not for nothing, but quite a few people have missed the boat, if you want to call it that. They have missed marrying the person that
Mm-hmm.
they should have
They
on
really
Mm-hmm.
account
loved.
of
Yeah.
interference from
yes.
parents or from
Yes.
Yes.
family,
Yeah.
because oh, in yeah, so are they, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
remember too how I got over. I have a cousin, Sharon. Sharon, I mean, it was ironic that my husband is the last one of his family. So all his siblings are much older people. They welcomed me in with open arms, no
Mm-hmm.
qualms, no nothing. While my family was like,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when one of my cousins, she was very forward thinking. She said to me, look here, I told her about the beating and all that. And she said, look here, you cannot be talking to him like that. You have to be calling grandmother mom. She said, if you carry him to mom, I make mom meet him so mom can, talk to you guys
Assisting.
and know
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yes.
And just like Max just said about her friend coming to the house with the granny, and I remember we studied up for a Sunday, and mom said yes, make him come, and Sharon said she would come too, because me said Sharon, me I got dead, me can't take it, and me I cry, and me I go on. And Sharon said she gonna come, and Sharon came with Ralph, came to my grandmother and my grandfather, and I felt like if the earth could have opened and take me in, but I just jump in there gladly. Me can't hear, me can't taste, me can't smell, me senses took leave.
All your senses shut down.
Everything shut down. Me, I was just a bundle of nerves. And him come, and my grandmother just said, and they always call him Master Ralph from the first. Them say, Master Ralph, are you me hear people are talk about? Then they a
Mm-hmm.
young boy, and when you born, who are your mother, who are your father? And they just start talking to him. And they tell him said they never knew he was a young man. They never
Mm-hmm.
knew he was such a manageable. I know that I feel them word.
Manageable.
Manageable
Yes.
person, because of the fact that the way how, because where we lived at the end of the district. When you
Mm-hmm.
go to the end of our land, that was another district. That's how far
Okay.
Okay.
into the district we were, right? So so the people from our end would come over, and my grandparents then weren't very mobile to be going beyond going to church, so
Mm-hmm.
they would know, what kind of person he was, to have met him outside of their home. But that's how he came in, and they met him, and it was smooth sailing for the most part from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that by then I was 17. We were already talking for 2 years. And that is when my grandmother was saying, okay, now you can talk to him and be respectful and keep your hand to yourself, you keep your hand to yourself, that type of thing. And they gave us some very
Whether we
good
not touching.
life
Mm-hmm.
lessons. Yeah. Yeah. But it was rough leading up to that point.
Right.
Hmm.
So in as I got older and was working in Kingston and so on, there is this family who had stayed well in Kingston. My great grandmother had a little board cottage in the back of the house, so there was a family that stayed there. So one of the boys, he was a police. So when I moved over to Portmore now, he also moved and was living in Portmore. So we used to see each other and heal up and stuff.
Like you say,
So
I
then,
like you.
no, not like that. Yeah, because he was like brother to me. No, not like that. The thing is, he had this friend who
Max,
was,
you are fan the flames.
Max did encouraging. Yes, so he had this friend who was in the army and was going up the ranks.
Okay.
So that friend accompanied him to the brokerage I used to work for. And he took him there so he could get his car insured and what have you. So anyway, the person came and sit by my desk, and I'm doing the paperwork for him. Nice, light-skinned guy, handsome and, intelligent and educated. So I'm doing his paperwork, man, and him there, Mrs. Emma watch me, and I look and I talk. So then he says, oh, you know, Denise, I wonder if I can carry you out. So I'm like, I really talk to people who come and my clients and come and work. But I said, let me see if we can go out with him. So again, my experience of dating and so on is not like most people. I never had going out and no whole heap of dates growing up. That wasn't our thing. We come in like princess, pretty much. Not in the convent, but but I didn't have a lot of dating experience. Not like
Okay.
that. So Mr. All right, me go. So he came over, man, and picked me up. We went over by that fish place, one place over in a
What
Port
about
Moresby.
Hellshire? Hellshire.
No, it
Over
wasn't
here.
Hellshire. No, not
Oh,
Hellshire. We went. It's that back road place where you find a lot of. They have some fish eateries and stuff. Me not remember what it name now.
it's not Faith's Pen. Is it Faith's Pen?
No, man, still in Portmore. In Portmore.
Oh,
Yeah, but there were
I don't
some
know that side
eateries.
very well.
They had some they do have some eateries
no.
along that strip, and also some like motels and them something back there. So but yeah,
Over
good
Edgewater. Over Edgewater.
in Edgewater, yeah.
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 We know around there,
So
sir.
yes.
What name again? Oh,
It's a
Jollies. Was it
Jollies. Thank
Jollies?
you. Jollies.
All right.
So we went to
Oh,
Jollies
Jollies.
was the spot, you know.
Yeah, Jollies. So anyway, he took me over to Jollies, man, and we sat down at a little space there and talking and thing. Because I'm trying to figure out, because I asked his friend Aaron, me say, Aaron, you know anything about, him and thing. Him say a good guy, but cover for one another. But
Yes,
in my head, I didn't think he was single. Like maybe him have girlfriend or something in my head.
Him
So
is single, but he want to mingle. He not single, but he want to mingle.
yeah.
something
So
like that.
something like that. So anyway,
Yes.
hear the thing with me. So when we sat down, he said, "All right, Denise, what would you like to drink?" Now I don't do alcohol and I'm not experienced in any kind of drink. No awareness about no drinking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So me look around, me look up in the bar area, and
Mm-hmm.
believe me, guess uno can
Uh-uh.
uno can
Uh-uh.
anybody can guess what uno think me telling me want to drink.
One
A
thing.
Shirley Temple.
If it were Shirley Temple, it
oh,
would
what
be good.
lady?
Sex on the beach.
Oh, what?
The
Yeah,
middle
Sex
never
on the
existed.
beach.
Sex on the beach never
Shirley.
existed.
Shirley. No,
Me
man,
don't know.
them the drinks there a long time. Hello, Miss Semina, know nothing about drinking, so me not. All right, I didn't order
Hey,
any
Ray
kind of.
and nephew. Ray and his nephew.
No, me not do nothing like
No?
that. I took the easiest and most stupid way out,
Pepsi.
and we just say, I'll take a
No, sir, tell we
Pepsi.
do, please.
Let me just say, Pepsi. Oh Lord, help me.
She don't want broken parties.
But hold on, Lady D. Please put a pause right there. Let me tell you something. After I'm coming right back to you right there because I did a lot of dating with my husband, thank God. But anyway, because we live in Montego Bay. There's so many hotels and places you can go, and he used to travel because they had a business, and he used to do a lot of traveling and stuff to buy goods and all. And so he would have US dollars and stuff, and he used to save them up so we could go out and have a nice dinner ever so often. And he took me to one of the very nice hotels, and said, "We want to drink." Just like you, lady, there, I look up on the board and everything, and me draw for a daiquiri. By then, I think, yeah, by them time, I think I may have been like 18. And me draw for a daiquiri, and me tell you that daiquiri gave me the RUNS.
Oh dear.
I said to him, I'll be right back. You know, we watch movie, you see the people in belly go a bubble up, a summer and a bubble up.
Oh no.
Me said to him, say, I'll be right back. And I excused myself. Like I have photos. I'm telling me it was like this skinny. Them time that everybody remember the little gladiator sandals with the strap to your knees.
Yes.
That was wearing, and I had on one of that with a white skirt and a blue blouse.
Mm-mm.
I went in the bathroom and I couldn't come out. I was in there maybe for over an hour.
Oh
What?
Lord.
Him had to come
What?
in there I mean I say, Lord, how me gonna come out? Me I sweat, me I fret, me I do the whole 9 yards. And then
Oh my
he had
God.
a car. Because like I said, his siblings were much older. He was the last one. So if me at
Mm-hmm.
18, him at 20, him had a car and everything. And me I tell you, say me in there, me I sweat, me can't come out. And him coming there for me, when me
Oh
hear
my
somebody and
God.
whisper my name, sure enough, hear me now, this boy really coming. Him say me can't come in, but you have to come out. You all right? Just because, that is why now you can't offer me a daiquiri. All right, Lady D, sorry, go back
No,
to your story.
well, guess
Daiquiri
what?
mash me up.
Guess what happened?
No,
Me tell
stop.
you, say I have no concept of no drinking nothing. I mean, I'm in 20s by this now.
Mm.
But maybe like
So definitely a
25.
drink.
But me, I wasn't a drinker, so me not really know about drinking. I
Yeah.
know Tia Maria and those kind of drinks because we used to have a stand in our living room that we would put out the different wines and stuff. But I wasn't no drinker. So
Yeah.
me here sit down with this young man now and he's saying, order what you want. And I'm like, I not ordering nothing I don't know in my head.
And yes, we
Mm-hmm.
don't
So
blame
I
you.
just said, I'll take a Pepsi. And he sat back in his chair, looked at me, and he put his hand like this and he says, I'm so embarrassed.
Uh-uh.
Oh Lord.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
he was all right, you sit down with a nice looking young woman, carry her out, and she go tell you she order Pepsi. He and I'm telling you, I was so
And the way I think
embarrassed
some can't
after
drink
I
alcohol
said
at
it.
night.
No,
No,
but you know what? He could also have taken the high road and recognized the fact that you
Yes.
are a tenderoni, you're a newbie, you are fresh, you're green, and he could have said, "Would you mind if I order for you?" And he could have hooked
Yes.
up a little
right.
thing. He never have to
Yes.
go on like
Since
him is
I
all that.
agree. I
Make him
agree.
galang, yeah, make him
So,
galang.
so that was the end.
I don't give you one. I don't give you one. I don't
So
you
is
all.
Me too.
so is I have a good friend.
So,
The one person I told.
listen.
Wait now. Hold on. The
Let
one
me get
person
what.
I told.
Let me get
One
a little
second,
bit. Let me
Jackie.
get a little bit in here.
1 minute.
I
The
went.
one person I told every minute. She's the only person. If anybody I'm with her, and they hear her say, "What happened to Pepsi?" That's it. She
Oh,
from that she called me Pepsi.
Oh Lord,
Oh,
help me. You let me move out of the
listen.
bag.
Since when I was living in New York, this is way back. This guy invited me to the movies. I met him. My cousin and I went to the laundromat, and apparently he saw me walking across the street. And while we were in the laundromat, this guy just came in there and said he was driving by and saw me walking across the street, and he had to find out who this lady is. So he stood there talking to us, and eventually it came around to him inviting me to the movies. I said, I have a young child. At the time my son was like, I think he was about 4. I said, I have a young child. I don't go anywhere without him. And he said, that's fine. We just go to the movies and watch a movie together. You know, when we went to the movies, the man buy one popcorn.
What?
One popcorn.
See,
We've sat
so
down,
was it
watched the
was it
movie.
was it was it the large bucket?
It's not in by one popcorn. And as a child is sitting there, the child reach over. The man said, "Mm-mm."
No.
Are you kidding me?
so you didn't.
Say me, say I got up out of that movie.
Yeah.
I walked to the concession stand, bought something for me and my child, and we watch a movie until it's almost done. Because we get the concept of the movie by now, and say when we leave, we say we go into the bathroom, that man don't see me again. That's why they say you
Yes,
must walk with
Exactly.
your next money.
absolutely.
You must walk with your
Yeah.
next money. I took a cab
Yep.
and I was gone.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Of
Yep.
course.
Oh
Rightfully
Lord.
so.
All right, so let's hop on. Oh my gosh, that's just low. Oh, sure.
Very low.
Mm. All
Mm-hmm.
I
right,
was
so our
gone.
audience they're posting. So Let's just
Oh my
hear. So
God.
Ricky says, one of my best move in college. A group of about 5 of us saw the beauty coming out of a building in full white, Lady D. Everything happened in slow motion, and we jaw dropped. The other four guys made a U-turn straight to her, but I kept walking. Hush. All right,
Well,
Andrea says in primary school, this boy did like me, but my eyes were on this other boy. We had some fallout, and he kicked me near my groin. He got expelled. I end up with wax and oh my
No,
God.
God, what a terrible man.
So Ricky says, as I was waiting to cross the road, so his story continues. As I was waiting to cross the road on campus, a car pulled up and it was her. She asked me why I didn't come over with my friends. I said, two is company, a penance him come from, three is a crowd, and four is a traffic jam. Well,
Well, a lyric, see, a lyrical
same way,
man
sir.
can that.
Same way, sir.
A
Same way.
lyrical lyrics, sir.
well, when she
What?
when he continues, well, when she and I came back, the movies, the four guys nearly lost their minds. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they went to movie.
Very
Yes,
nice.
yes, Mas Titi. All right, so let's see. So Princess says this guy in penance did like me, but made it know after he left the police training school. Now Ricky and Lady D should know who that is.
Eh,
Ah, oh, okay.
she know, she
Mhm.
find out how. Oh Lord.
Ricky C. Horton's Princess I tease you how you ball over the girl. So she said we're cracking her up.
Yes,
Um, she
Ah,
well,
says, so those days were if you stop and talk to a guy, if them swear blind you having sex with
It's
them.
true. It's
True.
true.
Me agree
yes,
with them.
true.
It's
All
yes,
true.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
And then also so
yes,
talk.
that's true.
And it was
Yeah.
so talk.
So
Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go.
Princess says, Maxine, I'm glad you changed as adult because you love him because you're afraid of him. Oh Jesus.
Yeah,
Of
back
course,
then, yeah.
Herman is here.
Yes,
Good morning,
nice.
everybody.
Herman. Morning, everybody. Me just a come. Morning, Herman.
Morning, Armin.
Mhm.
Morning, Herman.
Oh Lord.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
Celeste says, you make
But
sure
you remember,
friends
you
so
remember
he
also
won't
like,
trouble. Hold on,
oh,
Jackie. Hold on. He won't protect you. Okay. Let's see. Yes, Princess says, you see how religion those days can make you miss the marriage boat.
Mhm.
All right. Morning,
yes, yes.
African.
That is so true, I tell you.
Yes, I see
So,
African.
so true.
I see, is that the same African, right?
Yes,
Yes.
our African. Mhm.
DJ African.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Ryan says, Queen of City, girl, but under lock and key. What a life. Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, and everybody laughing during red. No, it was a red stripe beer. Pepsi.
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 Herman say
Yes,
aerated
water.
water, which would either Pepsi Cola or Coca Cola.
God, yeah.
So Andrea says the boy I was talking to was in the army, but my mother made it known that she doesn't like no soldier. One of her sister husband was one, and the experience wasn't a good one. Oh no.
It was
Oh,
weird to bring home a
what's not
soldier,
for
a
everybody?
policeman, or a Rastaman. Soldier, policeman, or Rastaman.
Yeah.
Out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to
Mhm.
give back my I'm presently married. Of course, everybody knows that 33 years. Normally, and I
Yes.
met in college. That was where we met, and we met 1982. It was I was doing summer classes in college. Of course, he had a business in the district of the college where I went to, and of course, when I saw him, I was crushed, and he was crushed with me too. And
All
Nice.
I
right.
remember when I took
Mhm.
him home to St. Mary to meet my grandmother and my rest of relatives, they loved the dirt where I walk on. So after that, when I make sure to set me, my grandma will give me the best orange, the best and the plant, and the best of everything. Carry this man. They treat him like a king. I'm telling you, they love him.
Nice.
Treat him like a king. Every time I make trip to set me, the best thing would be for him. The best orange, the prettiest orange, the best and a banana, the best and a whatever they have was what I got. And he had a grocery shop. So when I make trips to set me, he would pack groceries and send good for my grandmother and my mother. 2 boxes, one for my mother, one for my grandmother. So of course, yes, and he took care of me ever since and still do today. You know, we had great days. He was the first guy that ever really took me on a date. Because all the friends I had before then, in St. Mary, there was no place to go. I wasn't allowed to go with a guy on a date. But this is college and I'm living on my own because I lived off of campus. And of course, I was living close to where he lived in the same vicinity. It was a stone throw from where we lived. So he would take me out for dinner sometime. We'd go to club. We had great times together. So, you know, I couldn't complain about him. And of course, we're married now 33 years.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, nice.
Wonderful. Yeah,
And you
I
remember when
think,
people used to go out on dates, when they used to go out on dates, when they're coming back home to the district or going home, the boy would walk the girl to her house. We know a couple like that. Walk the girl to her house. She walking back to his house. Him walk back with her.
and then walk back halfway and turn back. Yes.
And then when they find it, it's after a few goes, them like meeting in the middle and say, all right, this one go that way.
This
and that one go that way.
And when they walk down, so they keep looking back and looking back.
Keep
You're
looking back.
looking and looking. You're looking and looking.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And we used to have books. We used to have little books that we wrote love verses in. And
Yeah.
we had a
Yes.
crush on somebody, you know. We wouldn't tell them, and we had books, and then we're coming from school, we'd read them to each other. As girls would read them to one another.
Yeah.
And you know, you swear to God, say you're carrying on a relationship with somebody where you don't even talk to, you know. Just have a and hearing these love verses.
Yes. But you know, I recall, you know, older people telling us that there was a time when they would, you know, a gentleman approach them and, you know, a woman and say, you know, he has interest in her. They weren't allowed to go on a date by themselves. They would have a chaperone.
Yeah.
You know, people would chaperone them and,
Yes.
you know, ensure that things are going the right
Yeah.
way.
But you know,
Yes.
but you know what? Usually,
I know
Lady D,
Pentecostals.
that would. Go ahead, Jackie.
So hold on a second. You know what happens? You have to wait on each other because there's a delay for you guys. So sometimes you end up speaking.
Yes, I realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized that. That's why I stopped.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Go, Shannon. Go on.
Go ahead.
No, Jackie, you go. It's okay.
No, I was saying that I know a Pentecostal couple that went through that. They had a chaperone and the lady sat there, the people that want to talk, and it's like them have to be careful what them talk, and they had to go to certain places, and every time they going out, they had to tell her, and she would go and sit there. They ended up getting married eventually. They went on a honeymoon, and it was a disaster. And the marriage turned out, you know, in divorce eventually because it was disastrous.
Yeah. I mean, their intentions were good, I think, but they were a little over the top with it.
Yeah.
Because the chaperoning is not sitting smack dab in the middle of the couple.
Right.
You could be in the vicinity, but let them talk, let them get to know each other and all of that stuff. But they made it look like, well, then at every given opportunity, you were going to be jumping the bones, you know?
Yes.
And they never explain to you anything. They just make it look like it's a savage fest or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And God help me to come out of that situation. But you know.
But can I also say that from observation in the congregation that I'm from, when I did my own personal assessment, quite a few of those marriages failed early.
Mm-hmm.
Early.
Yeah.
And after speaking to them, I realized it was a similar pattern.
Mm-hmm.
People would be out and about with them. They didn't get a chance to really get to know each other.
Bond, yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
we understand um the concern that when you're in church and so on, you are supposed to be you know walk in holiness. We understand that whole
Right.
dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so that was always a driving fear in your leadership, that just in case they sooner out anywhere or wanna gone off in hibernation somewhere, and those things. But they didn't give them a chance either to
Mm-hmm.
be alone, to see
Right.
what it was like to be alone. And quite a few
Yes.
of those people's marriages failed.
Yes.
Right.
Failed.
And they ended up living in a home where they weren't sharing um, the bedroom anymore. They just lived in the
Yeah.
house
Mm-hmm.
and raised the children,
Right.
pretty much. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we also have
That's
heard
not nice.
of yeah, but we also have heard of people who spot on the moment they saw one person, they knew that was the person. They love at first
Mm-hmm.
sight. In 5 days,
Yeah.
then in 5 days they marry, or 10 days, and they're still married.
Together. Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
all these things
Yeah.
you say to, because now if you were to come, if I were to come to you guys and say, hey, guess what, I met somebody and I think it's him and we're gonna married, the first thing people are gonna say if me out of my head, or if him I look something, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
It's
it
true.
has worked for many it has worked for many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a chance. It's a chance. You don't
Mhm.
know. You just don't know. That's
Yeah.
all
Mm-hmm.
it is. And some people are willing to take the chance, and some people are
Mhm.
not willing to take the chance. And some people lose out because they just they didn't put their toe in the water. They just
Yeah.
stand on the side. I mean, I
Yes.
have to speak about it from a kid's point of view because I remember my mother told me point blank, we're talking about this puppy love. Know not about love. Meet nobody else yet. You need to have somebody to compare. With your husband. I mean, at the time he wasn't my husband, but she would say you need to get older and compare, date other. My
Yeah,
mother
date
was
other
not.
people.
Yeah, she was open for the dating, but of course she was in New York, and then my grandmother would say to her, "Look, that one you have for me. Yeah, that three are for you. That one you have for me. Do what
Amen.
you want with them. The three, that one you have for me. He not
Right.
gonna wait. He not gonna wait. So
Yes,
That
I
was
she could have, yeah, she should never have
yes.
much input because my grandmother word was law because I belong to her, put it that way. But
Mhm.
just
you know,
yeah.
Mhm.
love
I,
will
I had
always
that
win
experience
in the
too.
end. But what's
Mhm.
that, Max?
No, I was saying I had that experience too because I remember when I lived back home. This time I'm probably in my 18, 19, 20. My younger sisters, they're going out with boyfriend, still with a boyfriend. Yeah, I'm living with my grandmother, and I never had that chance. I couldn't do it, and even because my sisters were living with my mother, and my mother was always a soft soap. My grandmother used to call her soft soap. She couldn't tell them not to go or not to do. They would just
Mhm.
hop on God a boyfriend yard for the weekend and stay there. And I'm older than them. I couldn't do that.
Right.
No, wow.
A boyfriend could come and look for me and we talk, but that's about it. I
Mhm.
wasn't
Mhm.
allowed to go out and stay out and have no date and go on date. It wasn't like that. As I said before, Norman was my very first official date where we go out and sit down and eat.
Yes,
And I
yes,
call
yes.
that a date.
Mm-hmm.
Back home
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
secondary,
My
there was
my my first
go
my
ahead,
first
Jennifer.
boyfriend experience. I had crushes, but my first boyfriend was like my neighbor, my brother's best friend, and he actually came to live at our house. And Jeff and
Oh.
I just started talking to one another. And let me tell you, we were good kids right now because me and Jeff we lie down in the bed, like in their room, in the boys' room, and we talk for hours. And that was
Mhm.
boyfriend
That
and
was it.
girlfriend for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd go to the beach. Sometimes me and Jeff would go to St. Anne's Bay and we would stop and buy soft drinks and but that was it. We got to the beach, and that's where the Percy Sledge came in, Lady D, because he used to love listening to Percy Sledge. So he would carry, the tape, where you put the cassette tape in,
Yes.
remember what you call it,
The
the
tape
player with
deck.
the handle, and
Yeah.
we'd go to the beach, and we sit down underneath a tree, and he would play Percy Sledge, and we play in the water, and then we walk go back home.
Yeah.
And that was
Nice.
boyfriend and girlfriend for us.
Yes. Yes.
I had some of those. Matter
So
of fact, I have a picture with my husband with his tape player in his hand, right at the side of the beach.
that was the boombox of the day.
That
Yeah.
was the boom, but I had to buy
Yeah,
the big batteries, the big C cell batteries. Them.
big
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
batteries.
I
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
yes. Yes. So Herman says, me. All right. Let me post this. Me was madly in love with a guy who used to go to CC, that's Clarendon College. So one
Our
Okay.
Cornwall College. Isn't Herman from Montego
Herman,
Bay?
you from Montego Bay? All right,
I
let's
think
say
so.
CC. So one
Herman
Anyway.
evening,
Bailey.
yeah, so one evening me walked past where he lived and stopped to talk with him. His mother came out the kitchen and said, me nah fatten a cockroach for foul. So you better come inside, come do your schoolwork. The rest
Oh
is
wow.
history.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Oh
Oh
my.
God, give me trust.
Those were some rough days.
Oh my
I know.
Mhm. So Ricky says,
God.
on a final note, I met a young lady in college who barely spoke English. She was Cuban, and when me see her, my heart go
Biggie
biggie big.
big.
Im- imagine my surprise when it became obvious that she liked me too. I mean, there were Spanish speakers around, but she chose me. It did wonders for my self confidence, and I learned to speak Spanish fluently to the point where I used to take my notes in class in Spanish. Go on,
Very
Rick.
nice.
Nice.
Awesome.
Good
Oh my
Ricky.
gosh,
Yes,
That's
Ricky.
yes.
me.
And he
Lovely.
Yes.
says, still speak it to this day. By the way, I later on learned to speak German too. Kuya. Well,
Hey,
Yes,
man of,
Wonderful.
I
yes,
was
man of
learning
You
many
see,
German
tongues.
love,
too,
love
but
can make you lose oh, Clarendon,
I
Clarendon.
know.
Man of many tongues.
yes.
Ricky.
Oh, Jesus.
Love can make you parlez-vous français.
Not
I told you they're in the lion.
Oh,
oh, Lordy. Go on, Rick.
Oh,
Okay. We've had a great morning. But and for some of
oh,
us, there were boys growing up, young adults, even into our adult years, who they would tell their friends that they like us, but they don't come tell you.
no, because they were
Mm-hmm.
shy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't come tell you one. But I recently heard a speaker say that if they can't afford you, they don't approach you.
No. You too IT
Uh-huh.
type.
but
Yes.
one last
You
thing.
too IT
Yeah,
type.
because
One
sometimes
last
a
thing.
guy will see a girl and think that she's expensive or she's untouchable or she's
Yes.
standoffish.
Or
And he
both.
would rather, maintain his self-esteem, or,
Mhm.
cowardice will drive him into being
Yes.
very, almost like a
Mhm.
mute and not say anything just in case.
Hmm.
Not say anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I
Hmm.
noticed too, the guys that we usually have crush on, we don't know about, like we usually have crush on and say, oh my God, he's so handsome or whatever. Nice. No, no. The other day, missing one guy that I knew from high school. Was it high school or primary school? Hit me up on Facebook. I mean, look at him. I say, this is a person I made have crush on.
Oh gosh,
Well,
that's a
well, can,
whole other story right there. It's true.
It's
but
true.
can
It's
I tell
true.
you, when I used to when I was working in New Kingston, used to work in New Kingston, so um I never used to walk with no little flat walking shoe. Most of us used to just
Please.
walk in our heels, go on a bus stop,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Take we bus, go about with business. So I used to stand up right at the Excelsior Community College bus stop. And there was this little guy, every morning me notice as me a walk come up, because I didn't live far from right there. So as me walking come up, I hear me see a come round
Present.
from down Deanery side, like round this. But me not pay him no mind. And my friend Sharon used to tease me and say, Denise, I think that boy like you, you know. She used to call him my boyfriend, my bus stop boyfriend. And he used to stand up right, lean up on the wall, not saying a word.
Yes, I
And me
watch
would
you.
stand up there, take my bus every morning. But he never, ever came over and said one iota. Must say one
He just,
morning him just say good morning, and that was it. Me say good
he just
morning
a pre you.
and not say
Yeah,
a word.
you was him eye candy, eye
He just a
candy.
pre her. He just a pre you.
You're not just a pre.
He didn't say a word to me. Not a word in French.
Lady D, you stunned him into silence, girl.
Me I tell you. And you know that years later, because I remembered him, I remembered what he looked like.
Mhm.
Years later, I'm shopping in Mega Mart in Port Moresby. And me see one person walking, kind of muscular and thing,
Mm.
and a little young lady pushing a stroller. So me say, hold on, no him that. And then him turn and look at me, you know, like it two we recognize each other.
Each other, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we kept moving.
Then she just say hi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then she just say what me
Yeah.
post that boyfriend.
Me too. Lord have mercy,
Oh
me tell
God.
you. Well, we're wrapping
Oh
up,
my
but it has been a
God.
good run this morning.
Yes.
Yes, and you
Oh,
know, our experiences have helped to mold us. And
wonderful.
many people will look at what they have gone through as, you know, a big stumbling block. And during the situation or crisis, it
Right.
may be that way because we have to go through our struggles. I have made some bad choices that sometimes you look back, you're like, what happened there? So, and they may teach you
Mhm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
But then I
Mhm.
realized that I am one of those resilient human beings and a proud person. And you know, I'm always wanting to be best the next time around
Yes.
and a good
Yeah.
version of myself.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know, even if the mistake had people tongues wagging and talking, if you stay in that tongue wagging and talking situation, then they will always see you that way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The moment you step out of it, they'll say, but oh, she's better than what we knew of her.
Exactly.
You know, so all
Yeah.
those things, many of us have had some experiences that have not been nice.
Right.
But you
But
get some exciting ones too.
yes, but you know,
Mhm.
we understand that it's a part of our journey. You have to walk it. If you stop
Yeah.
and don't get up out of it, you're gonna stay there
Right. Right.
fall in the
Yes.
pity party scenario and all that. You know, so
Mhm.
Right.
you know the people we have met, they have passed through our lives, and so that was that bus stop. Then you're gone to the next bus stop,
Yep.
You know.
and you
Bus stop.
and you keep
Exactly.
you know, yeah, and you keep moving because more bus coming.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, more
Catch the
bus.
next
Exactly.
train. That's it.
Yes,
Cheep,
as
cheep.
Andrea says, experience should build us. That's right.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
want to
Mm-hmm.
bless up everybody and thanks for sharing as always. So, ladies,
Mhm.
you know how we do your final comments, and then you can, you know, share your offerings to our audience.
I'm so glad that some of those days have changed. Some of those things have changed, but nowadays, the aggressor nowadays are the women. So they are the
Mm-hmm.
ones who are reaching out to the guys nowadays and
Mm-hmm.
making the first move, But I encourage our young people to get to know that person. Spend the time, get to know that person. And don't when it gets to the end, when I say the end of the dating and it's about time for marriage, don't be afraid to cancel that wedding, even if the plans have already been made.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
True.
advice.
All righty. And while you give your advice, I'd like everybody to do the same. Just go ahead, Jack.
Okay, so the pudding pan. The pudding pan is where you get traditional flavors. And that's me. I'm 917-533-2380. That's where you can find me. Puddings, torto, cakes, anything.
Hmm. And your final comments, Max, and then I'll put up your banner.
Okay, so dating back then and dating now is so different. They're so far fetched, so far apart. Back then it was exciting, believe it or not. Now it's short together for the most part, But I'd advise young folks out there to keep it together, do the things that are right and sits well with you, your family, your parents. The boy has to love the girl parents and vice versa. It can't be a one-sided thing because a lot of times in relationships, parents don't like the girl's mother don't like the boy or vice versa. And if there's no cohesiveness, then it's not going to work in marriage either. So we have to love both parties, both family. Because when you
Hmm.
marry
Yes.
to
You're
somebody,
marrying to
you're
it.
marrying to the family. You own
Hmm.
that family owns you. So let it be what it needs to be. All right. And of course, get the max. Yes, music and poetry. That's my life. Love me some music. All of my tracks are on all downloadable platforms right now. And of course, I do performances of both poetry and music. You can find me on all social platforms. And you can also find me at my yard. Thank you, Lady D, for this platform. And thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. And Sharon's your final comments?
Yes, I would encourage. I've been with my husband now for 40, I think like 44 years we're going. And like I said, we started
Wow.
as teenagers, and we got the bumps and bruises along the way. So one thing that we endeavored to do, our daughter and our son, we have always said, well, our daughter is married, but we have always said we will not, when it comes to their love life, we would never have them go through what we did by not taking the person for who they are. Like whoever they bring to us and say, this is the person. We're not going to, speak bad of them or not give them the benefit of the doubt. We would let them, they said, don't tell me, show me. We'll let their lives or their words speak for them and give them the benefit of the doubt, especially since they're young people. Because when it comes to life, we are all students of life. We never know it don't pat. We could be the parent or whatever. We don't never know it all. So we can give them guidance, but at the same time we have to encourage them because they are the next generation, and from them our offsprings will come and all that stuff. So um, I'm happy that we are here and that we are going forward and raising grandchildren and all of that stuff. So love is love and love conquers all, they say. So just give love a chance in your life. And African American inspired gift items are still available. Shades of Color by Sharon. That special gift for that special someone, maybe of a college student going in September or the fall or whenever. Neck pillows, accessories, bags of every description, hot cups, cold cups. A lot of stuff are available in the catalog. You can get a virtual one. Hit me up on WhatsApp 646-342-6838. Thank you so much.
All righty. And I would just like to remind you that I host Inside of the Zone, a twice weekly radio program on Linkage Radio, 104.5, 101.7 FM, and it's called Inside of the Zone with Lady D. I'm also a presenter and producer of on other platforms for other features here on the show. And I'm an MC, a voiceover specialist. I'm a playwright. I write plays, and stage production is my area as well. So I invite you to contact me at 914-304-2592, 914-304-2592, or you may email me at insideofthezone@gmail.com. Inside of the Zone NYC@gmail.com. This has been a morning taking us down memory lane, dating back in the days. We started out with little puppy loves and stuff, and now we shared a little of our adult experiences. And those of you in the chat who shared with us, we we appreciate you. Thanks to all those who spent the time to join us. What well, And sometimes the bus stops don't have any shade. I'm not, you
The
know.
bus is with up. That's true. Still,
You know what, Celeste? Lord Jesus. Okay, no. She not wrong. She not wrong because right there says only one little bus stop
No.
was right there. And then half the
Mhm.
time you're in the sun. So in the high heel shoes. You're right, you're here, Celeste. This is quite the ending.
mhm.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
but thank you for joining us this morning, everyone. And I wish you ladies a good Saturday. And I
Yes.
hope everybody will enjoy the rest of their weekend. And oh Lord, here Sandy said you ladies are hilarious. You're helping me tap into my heritage. Yes.
Nice. We're glad we can do that, Sandy.
Yes.
Sharon's
Yes.
care
Glad
back to
to be of
mango.
service.
Sharon's care back to mango.
Karabaki tree.
Even better, we can pick what we want.
Sharon, you have to do the test first. Do a test to see if you can do broadcast from outside. And then you
Yeah,
could do it
I
next week.
actually can,
Yeah.
I actually can,
Yes.
but I'll do it next week under the
But
mango tree.
yes, but I'm sure we'll have a little more interference with the landing and
I
You have
know,
got to help the dog. You have got to help the dog them out so that they know back.
I know. Never thought about that.
yeah. That's the only part because we can hear it,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's why I kept muting. I kept muting as best
Yes,
I could. Yeah.
yes.
Right.
But
The
no
thing is, I
problem.
need a Wi-Fi extender. If I have a Wi-Fi extender.
Hmm.
It
But
That
can
will
anyway,
work
work.
yeah.
fine.
All
Them in
right.
a age.
All right. So blessings, ladies, and have
Blessings to
yourselves
Yeah.
a great,
everyone.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
day.
Love
And
you
to
all.
everyone, love
All
uno
right.
and thank uno for keeping with company. And
Yes.
Yeah.
just
I'm gonna eat my break slow now.
kuya.
That's been I
Time
eat
to
too
go make some
fast.
tea.
Oh, you're gonna have break slow. Okay. I'll go figure out what my
Yeah.
break slow is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make a smoothie.
Oh, blah blah. Okay. All
I
right.
have
Well,
all these ingredients. Lord, this a water first, oh my God.
all right, everyone. Enjoy your day.
All
Okay, you
right.
too,
Take
ladies.
care.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye bye bye.